Welcome to the Deep Focus Podcast. I'm Murad.
And I am Varun. Welcome to our safe space where we're going to talk about all movies and TVs, whether it's on screen or behind the scenes. Murad, I can't believe we're here. This is a podcast that we're talking about since December.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about our past and how we got here?
Yeah. So our past, so Varun, I had met you at work when we were working together, and I'd always known you as the guy who was outspoken, kind of loud, and I really loved that because I like people who are like that. And you were passionate at work, so I wanted to see how much more passionate you would be when you're talking about things that you care about, that mean something to you. So one day, I remember I heard you, I overheard you listen to an interview that was taking place on the screen, and then I also heard you talking to someone about the Fast and Furious movies. And of course, I have my own 2 cents about that franchise, so we started talking about it, and from there, what was like a quick 10-minute conversation just on our break turned into sending each other trailers back and forth, and just like, if you're at work and I see you, I'm like, hey, did you see this, did you see that? And I thought it was really cool because I'd always been really receptive to movies on a very deep level, and I had not found someone that related to it on such a level as you. So when I did, I thought, you know what, this is a really cool, sort of, I could see like a really cool relationship building from this. And yeah, that's how we met. That's how our bond started. And what brought us here, it was a car ride. I still remember it to this day. We were on the way to the mall to pick up a present for your mom. And we just started talking about, you know, taking the conversations that we have in person, or over text, and recording it, and just saving it for ourselves, archiving it, because it is a really cool dialogue to have. And then I know you have a very extensive background in being a lover of podcasts, and I had mentioned that I wanted to do it, and now we're here 3 months later. So that 3 month process, what can you say about that 3 month
Well, to go back
time?
on your thought a little bit, saying I have
Mhm.
a background in podcasts is a bit of an overstatement. I don't have a background in anything except for sales and customer support. As for my background entails, a passion to listen to podcasts since 2010, where podcasts sort of started to hit the industry in general, mainly coming from starting at sports from ESPN.com, to now from everywhere. It's where my passion for podcasts has always been around. What led us here, it wasn't, I won't say the tough journey, but there was some roadblocks that came in the way. I didn't not realize how hard it was to find a name. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we spent, I don't know how many
Yeah.
days and weeks, the overstatement, just looking at, okay, what name can we use?
Hmm.
What name hasn't been used? Eventually landing on the Deep Focus podcast because it combines our passion when it comes to movies and film, and the visualization of movies, and also your passion for photography, which
Hmm.
I'm sure we'll deep dive into a little more, about that sort of thing. And then just finding things to talk about. What wasn't the issue is how to create a conversation about it,
Right.
because you and I always have these short snippet of conversations and back and forth message threads talking about what movies coming out, like you mentioned, some trailers, what's happening behind the scene, what's being delayed now, and things like that. And it has me really excited about the future of the movie industry, especially with new movies coming out that's been delayed for so many times, like the new James Bond movies, the new Batman, Marvel, anything that was on hold or pause or was set to release but wasn't released yet because of the pandemic. In case anybody didn't hear about it, but there was some issues last year in 2020 with
Just
the
some of
pandemic,
them.
just some
Yeah.
issues, right? So
Yeah.
that's why we're here today,
Yeah.
and led us to this very moment. We're excited for our listeners to join us on our journey. We want them to be part of our journey. It's a podcast by the people for people, and that's really it. Like, that's how we got here. This is what we're excited for. What are you excited for going forward? And to talk about that, even we have to talk about the past a little bit, about the 2020, about pandemic, and what kept you occupied in the last, say, 12
Mhm.
months when the shutdown first started till this very moment when things are slowly opening up again.
Right. Wow, 2020 seemed like 4 years wrapped all into one, and we just got sucker punched right at the beginning, and we got like violently broken down all year. But one thing that really kept me going was movies and TVs, but more specifically, I found myself going back to a lot of the comfort shows that I had watched, shows like Family Guy, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. uh I rewatched a lot, and those shows, they took me back to a time where I didn't really have to worry about stepping outside or seeing my friends or anything like that. So I found myself resorting back to those. I'm a lover of rom-coms. I'm a huge softie. So, a lot of rom-coms from like the early 2010s, Crazy Stupid Love, Friends with Benefits, I found myself watching a lot. And uh series that I had watched also as well, like The Godfather, I found myself going back to, and Back to the Future. I do a marathon of those once every year, but I found myself watching it more and more, not the entire movie, but just little snippets when I felt down, just because it made me happy. It made me feel like there was not a pandemic. It gave me a sense of normalcy. So that's what it was like for me. um, and I would say halfway through the year, I found myself starting to watch new shows and new movies. So the first new thing that I watched was Netflix's series Hollywood. I really liked it. It was a nice fictional and non-fictional tale on the golden age of Hollywood, the 1940s and 50s, and the creation of studios. So that's what it was like for me. What about you?
Not that far off, and I feel like there's a lot. I'm gonna assume people are similar in this, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was a great time to watch shows I've been putting on hold for a very long time. But at the beginning, I just wanted something safe, like you're mentioning. I went to all the sitcoms, whether they are universally liked or some people have okay opinions on them. I just went straight to sitcoms. Comedy's always been something I've been passionate about. Is watching stand-up comedy specials or just watch. Just I love having a good laugh, and who wouldn't want to laugh? And the moments like that we were going through during the time,
Yeah.
especially with elections coming up too, and how the entire and even though we're in Canada, like obviously all of Canada was watching what was happening in the US,
Mhm.
all the riots that were happening
Mhm.
during the continuation of the beautiful BLM movement. Still looking to continue for support for that. But sticking to the sitcoms, that's the end of the day, like what made me happy inside. It didn't maybe put too much thought into what I was watching. Is sitting there being entertained, enjoying what was in front of me.
Right.
It wasn't until I maybe it took me a little bit longer than most to start watching new things, start watching more dramatic shows, some more thrillers, to really sink my teeth into, to really start put my full focus in. And I was excited to finally watch these shows. I finally caught up to Ozark, who was one of the shows that I put on hold for a very long time. Finally watching that. Anything that kept me entertained, anything that kept me that was long enough where I wasn't stuck picking anything else after that.
Right.
So I watched a lot of shows, like catching up on my wife Grace Anatomy, watching a lot of series of movies, like
Yeah.
watching the Star Wars series again, watching Indiana Jones again, to where
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there, know what I'm getting myself into, and knowing that I don't have to pick something else right away.
Yeah.
So that was my last 12 months when it
Right.
comes to the movie industry. It was weird, definitely not going into the movie theaters, especially someone like myself who was used to going to the movies once a week,
Mhm.
if not once every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And not because I was excited for every movie to come out. Like I definitely was excited to watch these movies, but I'm also very impatient where I want to watch these movies ASAP.
Mhm.
I get jealous of these movie reviewers and anyone who's in the movie media industry that follows this and write about it or talk about it, where
Mhm.
they get the advanced screening of it. Like I love that they get to see it before anyone else.
Right.
Right? If any goal I have on this podcast is to get some early edition for movies and tickets, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like if I to get that alone makes this all worthwhile, right? Like it makes it so amazing. Like it's the Indian me to get some free stuff. I know I'm following the stereotype, but hey, it is what it is, right?
Hey man, free is free, and no one's gonna say no to free.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So it's very interesting to how the movie industry will be
right,
going forward in movie theaters. But I didn't catch myself missed going to the movie theaters. Like I wasn't at that moment.
right,
At least after like a right away, yeah, sure. But
yeah,
after that, it feels normal now,
right.
especially when movies like um when Soul came to Pixar, like on the streaming service, all these movies coming straight to streaming services or on demand or iTunes or Amazon, where
Mhm.
we're able to watch these new things right away
Yeah,
and not needing to go to the movie theaters makes me wonder. It's hard to say whether I'm going to move back to the movie theaters or not. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say for sure I'm going to go back.
right,
It depends what movie's coming out where. That's where
right.
like, oh, what do you think? Like, what's your take of not going to movie
Yeah.
theaters anymore versus in the future?
So me, I love going to the movie theater. I didn't go as much as you. Maybe I went maybe like once a month, maybe once every couple months. But it wasn't the movie watching aspect itself that I liked. I like the theatrics, the extravaganza of it
Yeah.
all. And going with your friends, hyping yourself up for the movie, waiting in line, getting the tickets, getting the popcorn, being around a crowd. That was all excited to watch the same thing.
Mhm.
But we were there for the ambiance, like I watched Star Wars in theater because of the people there. I remember I went to my first midnight screening ever was for The Force Awakens.
Mhm.
And everyone there were people in costume, there were people who were like who were speaking different languages like from the Star Wars universe. And that level of intensity is what I like. I like seeing people together who are so passionate. And then of course we all watched the movie, and at the end of it we all stood up and we clapped because it was so cool. And of course, whether that movie is good or not is subjective. However, what we all shared was that moment,
Yeah.
of being in the theater at that time, and it was really really cool. Because the experience was nice. Not that the movie was bad, but it was so much more than just the movie. But I do like watching movies in the comfort of my own home on my living room, just chilling with a bowl of popcorn,
Yeah.
being in a comfortable space where I know my surroundings.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's some movies that are better enjoyed in theaters, like I know you had brought up James Bond and movies like Tenet. Like those were made for the theaters, from the sound design to production design to just how grandiose and massive everything looked. So of course, for those movies, watching them at home is not the same experience. However, if we don't have a choice, then we don't have a choice, but they're better enjoyed in the theaters. And that's what I miss about it, is those special movies like that. So how were you able to adapt to it? I know you said that, you didn't miss it that much, but what was your sort of turnaround as to, you know what, I can do this. I'm okay with this.
When I had no choice.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I had no choice.
Yeah.
Nothing was open,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm sure, like everyone else during the pandemic, we created hobbies that we would never think about doing or made excuses of like I don't have time for this. Like
Right.
there's so many different things I was trying to do during the pandemic, whether it's
Right.
cooking more, whether it's trying to find a passion, read more, whatever the
Right.
case may be. And when I realized that when I realized I could watch everything from home,
Yeah.
the comfort of my own home,
Yeah.
and able to watch all the newest and latest and greatest stuff, and able to watch the movies I love to watch, whether it is the Godfather, Shawshank movies, or whether it is the Fast and Furious action movies that are, like you mentioned, are made for the theaters. You'd be surprised, Murad. The speakers out there don't make it feel like you're watching in a theater.
Hmm.
It's
Oh,
absolutely
okay.
it's absolutely amazing. There's speakers
Hmm.
out there. You set up your home entertainment the same way. Like if you invest in your own home where you are, a lot of the times if we're not at work, between the pandemic, we're all home, whether it's working
Right.
from home or not. We had to make our home as fun as possible. We had
Fair
to do
enough.
what we can do. And that's what we're trying to do. Like my wife bought a projector over the pandemic where we could watch stuff in our empty room where we don't have a TV, but could put it up and watch whatever we want, just
Right.
to create that outdoor movie theater experience. And everything was so creatable. We were able to make our own popcorn and it
Right.
hit the same. Enjoy ourselves an adult beverage,
Right.
right? Like we had when we didn't have a choice, it made it so much easier.
Fair enough.
right?
Yeah.
Right. I felt like it felt like we're just not a normal day. That's definitely far from it, but it felt like something is completely doable. And
Hmm.
that's why I don't miss going to the theater right now.
Right.
Again, that could change when the movies start coming out again.
Right.
Like we have the news, comic book movies are coming out again. We both mentioned James Bond.
Yeah.
Obviously, a movie like Tenet, a movie Tenet won't go back to theaters. However,
Right.
I'm sure Christopher Nolan will find another way to confuse us, but and
Later down the
visually
line.
and visually inspire us
Right.
to get back to the movie theaters. So I'm sure there'll be things out there like, okay, you know what, maybe we'll get there.
Yeah.
But there's also some movies that will. I'm like, okay, if it comes with demand at home, I'm gonna watch it at home.
Right.
Um, yes, those are my thoughts, and like I'm just excited how the next year will turn out,
Yeah.
especially with the war season around the corner. Um, how everything is going. I know we'll share our thoughts on the Golden Globes in the future, along with other award shows.
Yeah.
But what led us here? We've told people how we got here. We've told
Right.
people how we met.
Right.
Now, what can we tell the people? Why are we doing this? What's motivating us to do this?
Yeah.
So and for me, and I'm pretty sure I'm saying, but it's a passion for the movies, the
Right.
industry, and the movies.
Right.
Just growing up, able to watch TV, not having a lot of toys or anything like that when I was a kid, being at home a lot, just able to watch anything when I was younger till now is something I've always been passionate about, and just share my thoughts and opinions about
Hmm.
everything.
Right.
Um, you mentioned that I'm a very outspoken. I'm very opinionated. I
Right.
like what I like. I hate what I hate. It is what
Right.
it is.
Right.
How are you?
Um, I think you nailed it on the head. I mean, I know we both enjoy watching movies, and we both breaking them down to a very deep level of like, what do you
Yeah.
think this meant, or what do you think that meant, or from the shots to the lighting to just the way it captured us. And so we at all aspects of the movie, whether it's reviewing the full movie itself or just even like a trailer breakdown, just all these little debates that I really enjoyed having. And so I thought, you know what, why not format it in such a way that it's archived for us so that we can keep an eye on it as well. And we
Mhm.
can go back and listen to these conversations that we have. And the best way I found to do that was a podcast, right? And why not share these opinions that we have with each other, and share it with the people, and hopefully someone's listening, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I never thought of it that way, or it inspires them to have these conversations or to look at movies in a different way, because it's a very beautiful medium. It can be so disastrous or it can be so inspiring, right? So I think that's why we're doing this, because we want to share our opinions, we want to share our feelings, we want to share the dialogue, and I think that's important.
And not only we hope to inspire them, I want them to inspire us
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we're new to this.
Right.
We have no idea what we're doing.
Right.
Bought a couple cool mics on Amazon, down a couple apps for editing.
Right.
You're in your room. I'm in my wife's makeup studio right now, hanging out. Who has her own YouTube channel. So like we love to hear what
Right.
inspires you, because maybe you have a thought and opinion where that we haven't thought about before.
Right.
Everyone does. We love to, and we want to open this platform. We want more people involved, and we love to hear from everyone. Um, and that's what we're excited to talk about going forward. Before we sign off here, Murad, I'm gonna ask you a question but you're not prepared for. I'm throwing off base. What are you excited to watch this weekend?
Oh wow. No, I was not prepared for that.
No, that's the whole point.
So I still have not seen. There's three movies that I really want to watch.
Mhm.
That I think, two of which I will watch this week. Nomadland is very high up on my list, because I forgot the director's name and I'm so sorry, but I was watching her acceptance speech at the Golden Globes, and at that moment I shed a tear, because it was such a huge moment. A female director of Asian descent as well. And it's beautiful to see it recognized, and the emotion on her face told it all. And so if the passion for filmmaking is there, then I have no doubt that the movie will be fantastic. So Nomadland is very high up there, and Promising Young Woman. So those are the two movies that I'm really excited to see. Promising Young Woman, I have no idea what to expect from it. Um, but Carrie Mulligan is fantastic in everything else that I've seen her in. Whereas Frances McDormand, I haven't seen a lot of movies with her, but Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri blew me away right from the get go. I
Yeah.
thought it was so fantastic, and she's such a brilliant performer. So those two movies is what I'm excited for. But you know what? What about you? What are you gonna watch? Fast and
And
Furious
and
again?
and and this is no, I not yet. I'm gonna watch it. I'm saving the Fast Furious series right before the new one comes out.
Oh yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
gonna binge all then.
yeah.
But this is how we're like we are so different, but we also the same. So my movies I'll be watching this weekend. Coming to America 2.
Oh,
The great legendary Eddie Murphy. I'm
right.
very excited to see that.
Yeah,
So yes, I'll be definitely watching the first one again right before I watch the second one.
of course.
That brought to you by Amazon Prime. Very excited to see that. It's coming straight to Amazon Prime if you already have the streaming services. If you haven't seen the first one, please check it out.
Do
If
yourself
you're
a
for
favor and
comedy,
watch it. Yep.
please check it out. Maybe not around kids. There are some nudity scenes in the movie, but definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm actually very excited to see Raya as a new Disney movie
Oh, that's the one of
that's
the.
coming out.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the trailer, please check it out. It looks beautiful. It looks like it has the potential to be one of my favorite Disney movies already. I'm definitely
Wow.
overhyping this movie already.
Right.
Everything and early reviews so far from Rotten Tomatoes, it's done really positive. So I'm very excited to see it on my comfortable home television, on my couch with my wife,
Right.
and relax from that. But with that, Murad, we'll sign off.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, we'd love to hear from you. So please email us any questions, thoughts, opinions to the deep focus podcast at gmail.com, or you could reach us on Twitter and Instagram at the deep focus pod. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Peace.